from the Florida Gulf Coast to L.A., So, but, that money was there. But needless to say, he's not there anymore. It didn't work out. I don't know where Coach Infield is now, but he is no longer at the University of Southern California. So this year.
But, you got to get it while you can.
Yeah, of course. That's why, when I hear my man, I read his comments, Ron Hunter, his comments about, he's been fielding some people been putting feelers out. And, I'm 50 years old and, quality of life is big to me and I wouldn't take a job for the money. And all right, we've heard it all before, Coach. We've heard it all before. But,
well, you know what? Now, let me just say this.
Uh-oh.
Last year, when we had the Final Four here in Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
I had the opportunity of being down there at the at Radio Row broadcast, and had the opportunity of meeting Shaka Smart, head basketball coach at VCU. And you remember, I think what did they make it? Like the last spring we were on the air together, did they make it to the Elite Eight or the Final Four? What did they make it?
Somewhere
Eight, right?
around there. Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. But remember, they were talking about there was a lot of people, people, trying to be, get in contact with him about, coaching and, yada, yada, yada. So I asked him, I was like, this, your team just keeps making, nice runs in the NCAA tournament. I know, it has to be some, schools calling you, some, major level schools calling you, interested in your services. And I was like, and I know, the big boys, I know they can kind of outprice VCU. I was like, and I asked them the same thing. I was like, so if a big boy came and offered you more money, I said, is there a chance that you, would change up, next fall? Oh my God. You would have thought I told this man he was going to get the most. You know what I'm saying? He was like, what? The money? I don't do this for the money. I was like, you don't? Absolutely not. And I'm sitting there, me in my smart ass mouth. I was biting my tongue for all I could. Like, you don't do it for the money. Like, what the hell you do it for? So, like I said, I guess that must just be, being PC, politically correct, or towing the company line or whatever.
Well, I think it's two different. I think it's two different statements in two different circumstances. Like to say you don't do it for the money, I would take that more and say you don't do it just for the money. Because let's keep it real. The man stayed at VCU. He's still there. Now, let's clarify some things. VCU did come to the table after the fact with $1 million salary, and since those 2 years ago have bumped it up to $1.5 million. So let's not act like Shaka's out there like on the soup line or
no.
Right. But I think it's two different things. When you're the coach of Georgia State, like I wouldn't leave just for the money. Come on, man. Nobody thinks Georgia State is a destination job. This is the job before the next job, basically. Like let's not fool the people. And I know you got to tell people because of recruiting things, and you got to make sure people understand it or feel like you're going to be there and all these things. But the reality it is, RJ's going to be moving on, so it's not the draw of like still coaching your son won't be there anymore. Last year you dominated the conference, you just didn't win the tournament. This year you end up winning the tournament, finding yourself in the NCAA tournament. When I say tournament initially, I mean conference tournament. You find yourself in the NCAA tournament this year and winning a game. Yeah, dude.
There's a chance that RJ could come back. I don't think he's gonna leave early.
What is he? The article I read, the thing in the AJC said that don't do that. Don't, dude. If there's a chance, leave. Yeah. Leave.
If him and Kevin Ware come back, that helps you out in recruiting.
NBA scouts see that SR by your name. It's like, what? 4 years in college? What's wrong with this kid? Let's do an investigation. What's happening? 4 years at a college. Jesus Christ.
But I was reading this morning that with this NCAA appearance, Coach Hunter will get like a $50,000 bonus for, I guess what will be next year. So his salary will go from $450,000 to $500,000.
Ooh, there you go. Get that in you. So the next time somebody comes and offers you $1 million, say, no, I'm going to stay for my 50. I mean, I don't know, man. It's cool. But I like I said, I just couldn't do this without, what that boy said, keep it real with your dog no matter what, bruh. Yeah, just keep it real. Keep it real, dog. You know what a pedicure is. Don't be trying to put on for these white folks. Like, oh, I'm just this hometown kid, lowly guy, just barely making it. Nah, B, you're a businessman. You know what I mean? You understand the business that you're in, and you understand that notoriety in this spectrum is good for business. You know what I mean? People knowing the name Ron Hunter is good for business. People are willing to overspend just because they know your name. They might not know nothing else about you, but that's the dude that fell off the chair. That's the dude. And at the press conference, you didn't see that, did you inevitably see it? The waterworks at the press conference.
Yeah.
Oh my man,
yeah. But look now, here's the thing. Now, if he stays at Georgia State, right? The one thing that everybody says about Georgia State is that of course, this is right downtown Atlanta. There's a lot of upside to Georgia State if you're a kid coming from out of town, because you in downtown Atlanta, and it's a lot of upside to it. Now, if he stays, there's always the chance that he could build his own little thing down here. Not to say that it's going to happen.
Build what? What thing? What thing are you talking about?
I'm saying he can develop his own his own little basketball program that, like a Butler or like a VCU or like one of these big majors that make it every year that Dayton.
You just hear me say that man's 50 years old? Like Shaka Smart was like 31. Yeah, that's what happens when somebody's building something. He's 50 with kids, with grown kids, a wife, and that whole. Nah, get paid money. He ain't got time to be building no program, because you know what happens when you're 50 and you build a program? Yeah, you end up getting fired and some young dude takes over your built program. That's what happens.
Wins the championship.
Yeah, move on. Yeah. We're taking feelers. I wouldn't be surprised if nobody called. But now that people think other people are calling, people think other people are calling. It's like the whole Alabama's recruiting me thing. It's like, you might have been a 3-star athlete, but then what? Nick Saban wants him 5-star immediately. Right. Whether Nick Saban's calling you or not, everybody's looking around like, what? Nick Saban wants this kid. We've got to look further into his history. Whatever. I'm good. Oh, Ron, play the game, homeboy. And when you do, come back on the show, because by that time we'll have capabilities of taking calls and recording interviews and doing live interviews and that whole jazz morass that we'd like to do. This is the Sports Kings podcast, by the way. I'm Big Mike. The other voice you hear is Rob Calloway. We're being heard via Spreaker.com. You can get in touch with us via our social media entities, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Sports Kings Live. You can also email the show, sportskingslive@gmail.com. Now, speaking of guys leaving, staying, and all this kind of stuff, around this time, it always happens, especially as the teams and the talent level of the teams get more concentrated, people want to talk to coaches about real issues like the one and done situation, or better term, the NBA age restriction. And Rick Pitino, our favorite Italian restaurant owner, Rick Pitino, I don't know if it's surprisingly or not surprisingly, but he says players should be able to go to the NBA straight out of high school. But he also said if they go to college, they should have to stay more than 1 year. And before I'm going to read his quote, and I want to hear what your thoughts are on that, Rob, before I give mine. Here's what he says, and it's kind of like thing that it's like, my man, grow up, please. But he says, quote, "I'm very much in favor of high school kids going pro. I had 6 young men commit to me out of high school that didn't go to college, that went to the pros. I'm very much for that, because they didn't want college. They wanted to go to the NBA. And if they go to the D League, that's fine with them. But 6-7 month education, online classes, second semester, I don't know what that does for a young person," end quote. Pitino then added, quote, Now I'm different than probably the coach of Kentucky, who's been having so much success with that, end quote. Like, that's the part I'm like, my man, be an adult. Be an adult. Because here's, like, people act like John Calipari wins the championship every year. This man has one championship on his resume. One. So for people like Bob Knight and people like Coach K and Pitino to be acting like, yep, this dude is wrecking the system. We can't win a game with this dude in the game. Shut up. Be an adult. If the system's in place, you play along too. But anyway, what are your thoughts on that, Rob?
Okay, first of all, let's just do this. All right. Let's just take a look at Coach Cal and Coach Pitino, right? Let's just take a look at Bobo, right? What's the difference between the two? Nothing. Both of these dudes have done the same thing. I mean, when Pitino was at Kentucky, I mean, he was doing the same thing. I mean, he had guys come through that program, 1 year was done, whatnot. I mean, I don't. Again, and then throwing the jabs at Coach Cal. I mean,
well, not when he was at Kentucky though, because that was when they had like Antoine Walker and Mashburn. Them dudes stayed. Right. They was like juniors when they left. Walter McCarty and those dudes. Yeah, that was a different age. That was a different era because that was still during the high school guys going out. Like Kobe them and KG and them went out. That was during that. Like,
right.
Yeah.
So, I remember. Yeah.
So now Pitino didn't really deal with the one and done. That's why he talks so much junk about it. Because he feel like, he's one of those dudes that feels like, yeah, I do it the right way. Shut up.
Yeah,
no one cares.
Yeah, I mean, but it's one of those deals where if you get one of those kids, guess what? If he's lucky enough to get one, he's not going to turn him down. You know what I'm saying? Because they say, Coach, you know what? I think I'm only going to be here for a semester and a half. Like, he's not going to turn him down if they're the best player in Kentucky or one of the best players in, no coach. Let me just say that. No coach in their right mind that has a game-changing player coming out of high school that wants to be at your institution of higher learning for however long. If they're a game-changer and you think that's the piece of the puzzle that can help you get to a certain another level, you're not going to say, no, I don't want you. Go talk to Coach Cal.
Well,
you're not going to do that.
Well, here's the problem because that does happen. It happens at Kansas. It happens at Louisville. It used to happen at Duke. But what happens is not in the situation that was doing. Not in the way you're putting it, but what happens is they just don't recruit those kids. Like how long have we heard Coach K say, I don't recruit one and dones? And then came Jabari Parker, and then this year the Okafor kid. Like now he does. But beforehand it was I don't recruit those kids. Whereas Cal will be I don't care, I'm gonna recruit everybody. And that's where Pitino stands on them. It's not that that the kid's saying I want to come. He's saying no, you can't come. He's just not going to your house. Same with Roy Williams and those dudes. Because you know what? They feel like they're bigger than the game. These emperors, these dudes who oversee these programs. Think about it. You mentioned it the other day. The amount of kids that you know on the North Carolina team, like they were walking out the tunnel, you was like, I don't know any of these kids. But who do you know?
The coach?
You know Roy Williams, exactly. And that's what they depend on. Their egos tell them that I don't care. Like everyone in college basketball is Chip Kelly, except Cal. They basically say my system will take care of the rest. And if I happen to get a one and done, because like they're not pouring out of Duke. It's like one here, one there, like every year. Like when the Twins came back and Cauley Stein came back last year to Kentucky, Cass was like, what's happening? What's wrong? You know what I mean? Like
right.
these dudes are coming back to be sophomores, not seniors, and people are like, what the hell happened? Cauley Stein's back. The Harrison boys are back. The world's coming to an end. Cal done lost it. Yeah. But I guess my initial question to you was, where do you stand on his statement that kids should be able to go straight from high school, but if they go to college, they should have to stay for more than a year? I think that's where we're at.
Well, again, and I think me and you had this conversation.
Tell me, Neek.
Again. I think we've had this conversation in the past where if you have a kid that honestly doesn't want to go to school and, they're not going to do what it takes to be eligible past the basketball season, then, it's one of those deals where you should get to go to college. Is that what you're asking me? Get to go to the pros. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're asking me?
It's two parts to it. Patino says that they should be able to go straight out of high school as after their senior year and go to the NBA. But if they go to college, they